Alright, we are back with part 2. And as I was editing and kind of reviewing the video that I made, I came to the realization I'm going to we're just going to start off. Because I was talking about '06 on part 1, rather what I wanted to do with that. We're going to put that on refund. And the reason why is because when I think about that show, I look at it like this. If you had missed that show, you wouldn't have missed anything. Because nothing progressed at all. And a pay-per-view or a PLE is supposed to progress storylines. And absolutely nothing progressed whatsoever. Cena and Edge ended in, with a screwy finish. I guess we kind of had to do that to get to their match in Unforgiven. Batista and Booker T ended in a DQ. So nothing progressed there. Hogan came back, and I forgot to talk about Hogan and Randy Orton. You know Hogan wasn't jobbing, brother. So no progression there. Big Show and Sabu, what are we doing? So yeah, I feel like... And then the DX destroying the McMahons. Yeah, no progression. Nothing progressed to me in that show. And I also talked about how I felt that entire day prior to that show. And this is a video of my opinion, so... give me my money back for 2006 as well. So, I did 2013, and I left off on 2014. And 2014 is what more can I say? Suplex City bitch. Although, the Suplex City bitch didn't actually come around until WrestleMania the prior year. But this was John Cena versus Brock Lesnar and in the main event for the title, and man, I think this might be the best squash match in the history of squash matches between two main event people, which is why it was really disappointing last year when they basically copy and pasted the same match for WrestlePalooza during John Cena's retirement tour, but I digress. And I am going to try my best to speed run through this part 2 because I do not want this video to go long. So, Suplex City 2014, Brock Cena in the main event. You also had Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella, which was the, I guess, finale. And it's really funny if you think about it, because you have this whole Daniel Bryan story that, I guess technically, if you think about it, started at SummerSlam 2013, when he won the title from John Cena and got cashed in by Randy Orton, and that began the Authority angle, which I did not talk about when I just did 2013 here. But Randy Orton cashed in on Bryan to win the title, and that began the Authority storyline. And eventually, Daniel Bryan would overcome and win the title at WrestleMania 30. But that didn't end the Authority storyline, because then the Authority would branch off to face off against the Shield. But anyway, we get to the following year at SummerSlam, in 2014, Daniel Bryan's injured. So to kind of continue this storyline, Stephanie McMahon was brought in, or Brie Bella was brought in to kind of fight Daniel Bryan. And then Stephanie McMahon represented the Authority. And I will say this match was better than it had any right to be. I'm sure that there was a lot of input put into it to make the match good. But then, of course, you had Nikki Bella turning heel, which didn't last. But it made for a good moment. Paige versus AJ Leon was on this card. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose in a lumberjack match was on this card, which was really, really good. I enjoyed that. That was right after the Shield breakup. Roman Reigns, of course, would face Randy Orton on this show, which would be an important match for Roman Reigns post-Shield for him to beat Orton. So I will give this solid. I will put that in solid, for sure. I really did enjoy watching this show. So then we go to 2015, and immediately, I remember the main event with Brock and Taker, and I remember how unnecessary that finish was to this match. I mean, I get wanting to keep Brock looking strong, but you made Taker look weak in winning, when in all actuality, you could have just had Taker win straight up. Because Brock's shoulders were down, and then the referee counted to 1, and then the bell rang early. Why would the referee ring the bell? Why would the timekeeper ring the bell if the referee didn't signal to ring the bell? That was dumb. And then Taker punched him in the balls, and then choked him out with Brock passed out instead of tapping out. Honestly, I get the whole premise of the match was Taker coming back for revenge because Brock took the streak. It's not like Brock losing straight up would have hurt him, so you could have just had Taker just win and then do the blow off in Hell in a Cell. But they did that weird finish. So that already kind of tainted the show for me, just with that alone on this thing. Sheamus versus Randy Orton. You have the New Day winning the tag team championships. I think this actually started their lengthy reign of the longest reigning tag team to hold the titles, which I believe was beaten by the Usos. I don't know for sure. Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. This was when with Lana shenanigans with Lana joining Dolph Ziggler. Ryback versus Big Show. There's not a lot on this show. Not a lot of meat on the bone for me personally. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the Wyatts was really good. Seth Rollins versus John Cena was a really good match. It was winner take all. Seth Rollins was the U.S. champion, Seth Rollins was the WWE champion. This was at the height of the U.S. Open Challenge from John Cena. And I don't even remember who the celebrity was. And it doesn't matter. I don't remember. Someone in the comments tell me what celebrity it was. Jon Stewart ran in the ring and cost Cena the match. And the reason behind this was because he was a Ric Flair fan and he didn't want John Cena to beat Ric Flair's record. Even though this was 2015, so this was the network era, for $9.99, I'm going to say go ahead and give me my $9.99 back for that show. That was not good. 2016, this was the beginning. 2016, they had just started the draft up again. So, you had a fresh roster with fresh matches. The main event matches, you had Seth Rollins and Finn Balor wrestling over the vacant and new Universal Championship. The fans kind of booed the belt the entire match. You had Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE title. This had Sasha Banks versus Charlotte on it, I do believe, for the Women's Championship, or for the Raw Women's Championship. They hadn't actually had the SmackDown Women's Championship at this point yet. I will say this. I'm going to say that this was solid. Because there wasn't anything just bad on the show. So I'm going to go ahead, and I feel comfortable enough putting this. We'll go. It is solid, and it's going behind 2014. 2017 had a lot of bullshit on it, but it had a great main event with Brock Lesnar defending the Universal title against Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. So it's one of those situations where the main event matches are great, but the undercard is just nothing. Like, what are we doing here? Man, this is just abysmal. Very abysmal show, 2017, that. For sure. I mean, what? Yeah. 2017, great main event. I'm going to put it. Where does this go? I'll put it as serviceable. But let's look at the card, see what we got going on for this. The main event was great. Yeah, John Cena versus Baron Corbin. Yeah, that was. Oh, we're in the gender era. No! We're in the Jinder Mahal era. No. Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I have tried to block out the Jinder era, but it's back. So, yeah, serviceable for sure, and I am going to leave it at the bottom of serviceable. Most definitely. Might even put it in refund later on, because the main event was really good. Main event was good. So we might go and put that in refund later on. But I'm going to come back to that. I'm leaving serviceable for now. 2018. Roman versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. This was like a here, damn, finally. I just really wish they would have just had Roman win at WrestleMania 34. I mean, I just don't see a reason to stretch that out longer than they did. So that was the main event for this show. This was Ronda Rousey destroying Alexa Bliss in mere minutes to establish her as a, I don't know, monster, but we already knew that she was. Alexa Bliss was not believable going into this match, so we had that on the show. Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose will return to aid Seth Rollins in defeating Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. Their Iron Man match, I felt like, was the best match of this series. And maybe I'm a little biased because I was in Pittsburgh for their Iron Man match at Extreme Rules, which was the main event of that show. Braun Strowman destroyed Kevin Owens in 1 minute and 50 seconds. This was at the height of the Braun Strowman push. Of course, he was Money in the Bank at the time. Also, I want to point out, with the main event with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he was standing there basically announcing that he was going to cash in on whoever won. And then I will never forget that Brock Lesnar, somehow Braun Strowman got taken out. I don't know if Brock got out of the ring and attacked Strowman, but he whipped him with the briefcase like at least 10 times and F5'd him on the floor, making Braun Strowman a complete non-factor and making him unable to cash in. And then that's when Roman capitalized and won. So, I'm going to put this in serviceable, but it's better than 2017. So I'm going to leave it there. 2019 was Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. And I did like that match. It was better than their match at WrestleMania. But then this also had Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston at the height of Kofi Mania. And the match ended in a DQ. With a DQ finish. And that's just never good for a title match. Not at all. So yeah. Where do we do with this? Also, the year prior, 2018, I forgot to mention, Samoa Joe and AJ Styles wrestled for the WWE Championship, which also ended in a DQ finish. So 2 straight years with 2 DQ finishes or non-finishes, whether it's a DQ count out, what have you, for your WWE Championship match. So, but this also had Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus. And this was in Toronto. And this was Trish coming out of retirement, but she's wrestled since, which we thought this was her retirement match, but she's had matches since. I guess she just wanted to wrestle one more time in Toronto. So that was good. I did enjoy that. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon is a favorite rivalry of mine. It was a lot of BS involved, but it was still a serviceable match. This was the debut of The Fiend, which was great. He came out and destroyed Finn Balor in squash match fashion, and he had this awesome entrance, and he had this awesome display, and then they screwed it up. when they had him go up against Seth 2 months later inside of Hell in a Cell. But I'm not even going to talk about that because that's just going to upset me. So SummerSlam 2019 had a lot good on it. I want to put this. You know what? I'm gonna put it in solid. I'm gonna put it in solid, but I'm gonna put it in solid, but I'm gonna put it before 2016. That's a good spot. Okay, now we're in the pandemic, 2020. I'm gonna put this. Well, you know what? I'm gonna put it in serviceable because it's not fair to put it in refund. Because I feel like this had the potential to be a good show had it been held in front of people instead of being held in silence. So I'm going to put it at the end of serviceable. This did have the return of Roman Reigns, and this would be the start of the Tribal Chief character, which we see where Roman Reigns is at right now, and we see how over the Tribal Chief OTC character is right now. So with that, it's memorable for that reason. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship on this show. Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. This was the beginning of Dominic Mysterio in WWE. And it's just amazing to see how far he's come with that. Interesting fact about Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. This was originally scheduled to be a hair versus hair match, but WWE changed the stipulation and made it a loser leave WWE match with Sonya Deville losing because she had experienced a home invasion, and she was really shooken up about that, as anyone would be. So the WWE decided to give her time off to mentally recover from that. And Sonya Deville was going to lose the match, and they didn't want to shave her head on top of the real stress she was dealing with outside of WWE. So they changed it to loser leave town or loser leave WWE match. And Mandy Rose won, and then Sonya Deville left and would eventually come back at some point. So I'm going to put that in 2020 in serviceable. 2021. This is fun. This is a fun show. Because it was the first... Money in the Bank was actually the first show that had people. Right? So I feel like the crowd is what made this show fun to watch, just because it was one of the first big shows that had people on it. Of course, WrestleMania that year, not 2020 but 2021, had people, but the stadium was half filled because there were still restrictions to how many people could be in a public place. But this was a fun show. I really enjoyed it. For the most part, the in-ring action was really, really good. For sure. I'm going to put this in solid. I feel comfortable putting that in solid. This was another show that I did review on my YouTube channel before, so you can check out a more in-depth review on that show there. The only thing that kind of that takes away from this show is Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. At this point, seeing Goldberg in a title picture was just, why? Why are we doing this? And then Goldberg's son got put in a hurt lock, and take that match out, and you might honestly take out Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. That might go in great. But as far as, I think we're going to move this up, actually. Yeah, let's put it there. Third place for solid. You know, yeah, Edge versus Seth Rollins. Yeah, Drew and Gender. Okay. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, which was next year we would get the match that we should have got that year prior to. It was supposed to be Carmella, and then that whole fiasco. Yeah, I'm gonna put that solid. I like that. I like that there for sure. So then we go on to 2022, and if this. I think this might be the... Well, okay. Let's start with the main event. This might be... No, I think it is the greatest last man standing match ever. I mean, this match was so ridiculous. They threw so much bullshit. And I say bullshit, I mean it in a positive way. Despite the fact that I'm cursing. It was so much thrown into this match to make it good. And I feel like they had to do that because at this point, Roman versus Brock was just stale. No one really cared. No one wanted to see it anymore. So you had Brock drive a tractor to the ring for reasons. Who the hell told Brock Lesnar to drive? I want to know who signed off on that to have Brock Lesnar. And I don't even know what you call it. It's probably not a tractor. I'm probably getting the vehicle wrong. But it's some sort of lift where... And this happened during the match. In the course of the match, Brock Lesnar lifted the entire ring up on its side and dumped Roman Reigns out of the ring. So you had a tractor. You had the Usos interfere, which was to be expected. This was the Bloodline era. That always happened. Paul Heyman getting F5 through a table. Austin Theory trying to cash in and failing. It was just so many things that were thrown into this match that made it a fun match. A fun car crash to watch. And then it would end with Brock Lesnar getting buried under debris, the announce table, and the Usos just stacking the security barrier and parts of the table over Brock to win. Greatest last man standing match of all time. Is it enough for me to put it in a classic? Maybe. We got Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Logan Paul versus The Miz. Bobby Lashley defeated Theory, which by submission. The Mysterios teaming up against the Judgment Day. Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. I don't know. Usos defeated the Street Profits. That was good. Liv Morgan defeated Ronda Rousey. That was screwy because remember Liv Morgan had cashed in on Ronda the month prior to win the title off of Ronda Rousey. And then they did that stupid thing where you got Ronda Rousey had Liv pinned. Oh, I'm sorry. Ronda Rousey had the armbar on Liv. Liv tapped out while Ronda was getting pinned. But for some reason, the pin superseded the tap out, so Liv won. So then that was a little But you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go to great. We're gonna go to great. I'm gonna put it there. I like that there. SummerSlam 2023. This was more Bloodline business. Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. This, of course, in this match, you saw Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, turning on his brother to help Roman win. Tear. Great match. A lot of Bloodline shenanigans in it, but it was an awesome match. They set this up perfectly by having the Civil War tag team match the month prior, where the Usos defeated Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, and Jey actually pinned Roman. So that was a good way to set that match up to give Jey some credibility going into the title match. Logan Paul versus Ricochet. It was a spot fest, but it was fun. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. This was interesting with Cody Rhodes, like having this Brock Lesnar side quest. Because, you know, Cody lost to Roman at WrestleMania 39. And it was kind of inevitable that he would eventually get to face Roman Reigns again. for the title at WrestleMania 40, looking back. But Cody just had a bunch of side quests to get to WrestleMania 40. Like, he won the tag titles with Jey Uso at one point, wrestled Brock Lesnar in a series of matches, just did a lot of side quests to get there. But one thing about this match is Brock Lesnar did shake his hand after the match, and if you believe the reports, I do not believe that there were reports saying that that was not planned, that Brock just decided to do that. So, yeah, Gunther versus Drew for the title. Man, okay, we got some good stuff on the show. Bianca, Asuka, and Charlotte in the triple threat. Io and Bayley. Yeah, Io defeated Bianca. Okay, yes. This is a good show. This was a fun show. LA Knight winning a Battle Royal, a Slim Jim Battle Royal. Man. Detroit. I am gonna put this in. I'm putting it in great. I don't know if I think I might. Yeah, I'm gonna put it behind SummerSlam 2022. I like that there. SummerSlam 2024 is a classic. I was there. It was in Cleveland. I might put this in classic because you had Rhea and Liv in the opening match, which was so good because you knew eventually that Dominic was going to turn. I didn't think it was going to happen then, but it happened then, and it legitimately shocked me. So you had that. You had LA Knight versus Logan Paul, with Logan Paul doing that awesome Acai moonsault. Nia Jackson Bayley was good. With Nia winning the title, I'm a Nia Jax fan. I know Nia Jax isn't the most popular person within the IWC, but I like Nia Jax. So that was fun. Man, I got to see Jelly Roll perform. That was cool. I got to see Jelly Roll chokeslam Grayson Waller. That was fun. Cody Rhodes solo. Seth Rollins versus, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, with Rollins as the special guest referee. Every match hit. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Yeah, you know what? This is going in classic. Partly because I was there. I will say that. Partly it's because I was there. That's going in classic. And so now we come to 2025. This was the year before. And this was 2 nights. And what's funny is I actually forgot that this was a 2-night event. So I had to re-download the images to get the image for the second night. But so the first night was CM Punk. It was highlighted by CM Punk, main evented by Punk and Gunther for the world title. And this, of course, had the Seth Rollins cash in. I'll never forget the image of Seth Rollins standing on the stage, throwing the crutches down, and then running down the cash in. And that was a moment that I will never forget. It was not as good as his first cash in at WrestleMania 31 with the heist of the century, but it was still a memorable moment nonetheless. So we had Roman Reigns opening the show. Roman and Jay versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, a tag team match with Roman and Jay picking up the win. He had Alexa Bliss and Charlotte versus the Judgment Day with Raquel and Raquel. That was good. Sami Zayn defeating Karrion Kross was probably the weaker of the matches on night 1, but it was still solid. Tiffany Stratton and Jade, Drew and Logan Paul in a celebrity tag match with Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul versus Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. That was what it was. So we're going to start with night 1. I am going to say night 1 was solid, but let's move it up above here, above there, and you know what? I'll even put it above 2014 as well. That's a comfortable spot for me. So night 2, of course, I was main evented by John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Classic match. Definitely a classic main event. Great triple threat with Naomi, Rhea, and Io. Congratulations for Naomi being pregnant, but imagine what we could have got if she would not have been pregnant. Because that character of hers was amazing. Cannot wait for Naomi to come back. Uh, yeah, we had the 6 pack tag team ladder match, or the 6-way tag team TLC match on night 2. And that's already making me want to put it in great because that was probably the best match between both nights. Yeah, Becky Lynch versus Lyra. Oh, quick story about this match. Man, WWE Unreal ruined that match for me. Because I didn't think the match was that bad until I watched WWE Unreal. So if I take WWE Unreal away, I did enjoy that match. But Unreal ruined that match for me. Solo and Jacob Fatu in the cage. Dominic and AJ Styles one-on-one. I think night 2 is solid, but is it great? I think it goes great. I think I could put that there because I think it was better than night 1. Alright. So, now I'm about to finalize this. We have every SummerSlam in the respective tiers, and I'm going to finalize it, and I'm going to go through each tier and see if I am comfortable where it's at, or do I need to make some changes. Alright, so, classic. SummerSlam 2002, we can leave that there. SummerSlam 2024, I was there. So, there's a little bit of bias there, but I'm going to leave that in classic. Great. SummerSlam 2000, 05, 08, 2022, 2023, and then night 1 of 2025 last year. I can solidify this, I can solidify that. Solid. 01, 2013, 21, 03, night 1 of 2025 last year, 2014 being there, 2019 being there, 2016 being at the end of Solid. Boom. I'm okay with that. This is where it's going to get a little tricky and I might make some changes. 09 being the best of the serviceable tier. Do I want to switch these two? It's 2011. Nah, I'll leave that there. 2012. I mean, your selling point was Brock and Triple H, and that, I might put that in refund. We'll see. 04, I can leave serviceable. 07, I can leave that in serviceable as well. 2018, serviceable. 2017, yeah, I'm gonna move this. 2017 can go in refund. Because despite how good that main event was, the rest of that show did not have a lot to offer, in my opinion. And you had Jinder Mahal as WWE champion, so that goes in refund. 2020, I've already kind of with the pandemic restrictions. You know what? I think I'm gonna just take that off. I'm gonna take SummerSlam 2020 off, and I'm not even gonna rank that because of the pandemic restrictions. So I'm just gonna completely remove that from the list. Because like I said, I don't think it's fair to really rank that because they were restricted during the pandemic. So I'm just gonna remove that completely. So we got refund, man. 2013. I'm sorry, 2010. I'm comfortable with that being there. 2006. Yep. 2015 SummerSlam refund. Also, I want to point out this was the first SummerSlam where it was like 4 hours and you didn't have a lot to fill it either. The same could be said for 2016, which solid. You know what? Nah, let me move 2016 as well, and I'm gonna put that behind 2009. Yes, and then to end it out, refund. Yeah, 2017 and refund. I like that. So this is it. This is my tier list, my official tier list of where I think every SummerSlam should go for the past 25 years. And if you guys are still with me, I really appreciate it. So, on the Wrestling Fanatics podcast coming up, we got SummerSlam predictions next week. And then I'm going to also review SummerSlam following the event. And you know what? I think I may want to do each match for SummerSlam, this year's SummerSlam, in this format. I'll just change the name of the tiers. But yeah, so this is it. This is my definitive SummerSlam tier list. And this is going to conclude episode 3 of the Wrestling Fanatics podcast. My name is Warren Freeman. You can find me on Wrestling Fanatics on Facebook if you want to chat with me and the other admins on that page. So this is it. I'm signing out. Have a blessed day.